Hello, this is Dr. Nimrod Sheinman from Israel, and our topic will be mindfulness in education from the whole school approach perspective. As you can see from my few lines under my name, I'm the co-founder of the Israel Center for Mind-Body Medicine, founder of Israel Center for Mindfulness in Education, and the International Soul of Education Initiative, but our topic is a whole school approach in the context of mindfulness. As we know from all around the world now, mindfulness is being presented to children in different ways, and each country and each program, each initiative has its own DNA. In Bhutan, for instance, it's a whole country, and it's very short, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. In New Zealand, it's a 45 minutes, but it's only 8 sessions, and then suggestions for the teacher, recommendation to keep on. In UK and England, in UK and the USA, the original models were 8 weeks or 16 short sessions. Now it's multiple programs, initiatives, and research. In Australia, 2 programs. One of them is online program. And in Israel, the main emphasis in Israel so far for the last 22 years is the whole school approach dimension, whole school approach initiative. How did it start, actually? 22 years ago, I was only a therapist then, and I have had my 5-year-old son and 3-year-old daughter. Before they went to sleep, I would guide them into mindfulness and sometimes imagery. And I gave lectures all around the country on integrative medicine, holistic and integrative medicine, which emphasized mind-body perspective, whole person care, relationship-centered care, creating healing conditions for healing to take place, and using different therapeutics for that, West and East. And as I was doing that, I was requested to present the same topic, holistic perspectives in well-being, to health-promoting school agents around the country. Health-promoting school is a model of the WHO from the 80s. And when I was doing that, I applied the integrative holistic medicine perspectives into education. We can call it integrative and holistic education perspectives, where the whole is bigger than the sum of the parts. It's a whole child perspectives based on the whole person care. It's a relationship-centered approach in schools and education. It's trusting children's innate capacity for learning. They want to learn. It's creating conditions for learning, meaningful learning, and learning from within to take place, and using skillfully different applications of different pedagogies that resonate with the above principles. And as I was presenting this at large with my transparencies in the 90s, one school principal said to me, I want you to come and do your whole program, and that's how the whole program for a whole school began. 1998. It was Israel's first whole school approach. It wasn't only mine, obviously, there was a team, and with the school principal, and we figured the principles for the whole school at her school, South Tel Aviv. And it was weekly 45 sessions, once a week for the whole year, integrated in the curriculum. So when we started, it was age 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, up to 12 for the whole year. For the second year, it kept on. So new kids that came to the school were immediately experiencing it. And the second grade experienced it for the second year, and so forth. In the school, in the class itself, we integrated what I call classical mindfulness, breath meditation, body scan, walking, standing, all applied age application from 6 to 12, and to the personality of the class, using imagery to enhance mindfulness or to back it up, and using playfulness, guiding children in Hebrew to be with themselves differently. It's in Hebrew, but now translated into English. להיות עם עצמם אחרת, to be with themselves differently, and also guiding children to be aware of the ingredients of life, breath, posture, sounds, emotions, thoughts, movements, images, someone else in front of them, the whole group, etc. The sessions were not done sitting. One class was turned into a sort of a studio with mattresses, And we had 45 minutes for a whole year, so we had enough time to evoke inquiry and questions, sort of meaningful questions and reflections, and encouraging children to express it verbally or writing notes, or expressing it in a non-verbal way, drawings, and to apply it as much as possible in their daily life. When we started, different people, colleagues, gave me information. This is one piece that I still like. A very simple old book from the 70s called The Art of Learning Through Movement. It's supposedly nothing with imagery, but it's all about children and about working with children. And this quote from the very beginning is still very relevant, to me at least. Children want to learn. The key is total involvement. When a child has put all of himself or herself into an experience, his body, his mind, his emotion, his imagination, his enthusiasm, he will learn and he will grow. And he will grow not only in the specific experience, but through his entire personality. And when I saw that quote, I said, this is what we do and this is what we can do. We can deliver that. This is good. And then I went to my books, and there was a book that was then published, American book, Hypnotherapy with Children. But in the beginning of the book, they gave guidelines that when we speak to children, when we listen to children, when we work with a child, we need to remember what's behind his or her eyes. There's an urge for experience, positive, meaningful. There's an urge for wellness. There's an urge for imagination, the world of imagination. There's an urge for social interaction, and there's an urge for mastery, sense of mastery. And when I saw that, I said, this is how we should work. We need to address that, and we can address that through mindfulness. And the whole school approach was developed. It wasn't developed all at once. It was a teamwork. And the school principal was involved, the teachers were involved, the students got involved. And first we knew that we need a school principal to back it up, and we had one. For 2 years we did it, and then we had more schools with more school principals backing it up. It was part of the curriculum. So it was from age 6 to 12, children would experience it, are experiencing it still, for 6 years, once a week. Teachers, the homeroom teachers were requested to be in the class, and the class was taught by special mindfulness skillful agents, our teachers in a way, that knew how to address children and to integrate the mindfulness and the movement and the playfulness and to be creative in creating something from scratch, and a lot was created and still is created all around the world. Still a lot is being created. Teachers saw it, and there was also sort of supervision for teachers once a month. Slowly, after a few years, teachers became interested and motivated and able to guide short mindfulnesses to their own class between the official once a week. And so it became more and more integrated in the school culture. There was the official 45 minutes and many 5 minutes, 10 minutes before exam, beginning of the week, beginning of a class, end of the week, before a holiday, after a holiday, before stress, before a test, to eliminate the stress, etc. And parents were introduced, were invited, were getting updates, were invited to small workshops, etc. And that's how the whole school approach was alive. When we did that, after a while, now it's clear to me, but then it wasn't clear to me. But now I can say it, and it's obvious immediately. Mindfulness is not one piece, because there is the length of it, there's the ingredients of it. There's a multiplicity, multidimensional, but it's definitely contemplative and cognitive and meditative and reflective and expressive, if we have time to allow children to express it, and it's applied. And that's how we can search for success, for positive outcomes by either objectively or subjectively interviewing teachers, parents, students. In the last 20 years, I interviewed hundreds of children, sometimes by discussing it, sometimes by written. And first, There's what we explain. There's a little explanation on our behalf, and we can see what did they understand. There's the meaningful experiences, and in Bhutan, for instance, 3 minutes, that's all available. In Israel, all of the above are available. So it depends on the time available and on the length available. There's the explanation, there's the experiences, there's the inquiry, reflection, discussion, expression, verbal and non-verbal, and then the application. And we were very interested, I became very interested in the application. How much do they apply? Because with adults, we ask adults to practice. With children, we don't demand it. We cannot make it a demand. And I was very interested to know how much do they apply from what we teach. And so we did a study on that. And in the study, we already knew from previous questionnaires and interviews, where do they take it when they do take it? And we understood that they take it into life. Sometimes we knew already they may use it before an exam or when they're stressed. They may use it when they don't fall asleep and they want to fall asleep, which is at home, not at school usually. They may use it when they're being annoyed. Someone annoy them, an event with someone usually. They may recruit it when they need to concentrate, and they recruit it to concentrate better, and they may need it when they feel disappointed, they failed. So we gave them a simple questionnaire without telling them it's about mindfulness. And we did it 3 schools, one long-term, 13 years, children with years of mindfulness, it's in the culture. Another school, age 9 to 12, where it's the first year we were just began, and a school with no previous mindfulness whatsoever. And we asked children, what do you do when you have problems to fall asleep? What do you do when you need to concentrate and it's difficult? What do you do when you are disappointed or when someone annoyed you? What do you do? And they wrote their responses. And from their responses, we had a long list of what children may do. From falling, they go to sleep, they go to eat, they go drink a chocolate drink, they do a computer game, they scream, they shout, they hit, different strategies. And among the strategies we could pick, how many are they that are mindfulness-based coping strategies, like mindful walking, mindful breath counting, mindful body scanning, etc. We could see how many. And in the first school, with no mindfulness, there was almost nothing. In the 1 year, more used it before exam, and a little more than nothing in the no mindfulness school. But in the more years on the map of mindfulness, we can see a big gap between the strategies, and more children definitely are using it. Different strategies. Some kids will use the imagery strategies, some the somatic-based strategies, some the movement-based strategies, some all of the above, some of the above, etc. So now I can say for sure that we have different domains of positive outcomes. The strategies that we chose were the last, but before we can interview children about what was their significant positive experience. And if that is not happening, we lose them. We didn't do it well. We didn't do it right. Because we want many enough to say in their own language, this was meaningful, this was interesting, this was relaxing, this was invigorating, this was giving me hope, this was great. Like one student, this helped me to find the peaceful world within. So we want as many positive enough experiences for them. Only if we speak to them, we know if it happened or not, and each of them. We want meaningful enough insights. And we can dig for that when we communicate with them or when we evaluate the results. Different meaningful insights and mindsets. We can look for personal and interpersonal competencies. This is mostly the domain of social emotional learning. We can check how many skills and tools did we add to their skillfulness toolbox. And then we can see what new strategies did we manage to to create, thanks to us and thanks to them. Cognitive strategies, behavioral strategies, and coping strategies. If you have questions, obviously feel free to contact me. I love questions and nag me as much as you can. And thank you for listening, and thank you for allowing me to share my 22 years experience. Goodbye and shalom.